Welcome back for another page layout idea from the 101 Scrapbooking Ideas and Sketches book from Creative Memories. Today we're going to be using page 104 for a layout, and I've got lots of different photos on here. I don't have all of the photos, all of the correct photos, but I'm going to stick close to this layout from the size of photos. The height might be a little bit differently, but there will be photos down the middle, one over here, and on this side. And where I think we're going to spend the bulk of our time today is going to be trying to put this piece together, trimming and getting this these photo mat sections ready to go, and then creating some decorative elements off to the side. We are going to be using the Totally Tonal Blue and the Totally Tonal Red on our layout today. And the other items that we're going to be using are instead of the diamonds, we're going to be using circles. So I've got the old Creative Memories circles that we will be cutting here, along with the more recent circle punch here for various sizes. I'm not going to create some geometric shape. I just want them to kind of overlap and flow and look good as we go. So there'll be some blue ones. We may add a pop of red in here as well. These are team bonding events from a hockey season, and the team colors are blue, red, and white. So those are kind of the starting point for why I chose these two collections to be able to use. We're also going to be using the notebook border maker punch, along with the banner punch too. So we'll get cracking on those and start building out the page as we go. I am trying to use up some random pieces I do have as well. And so we've got we're gonna have cardstock as our two base page layout, and then I've got a couple of pieces of pattern paper to use on the background as well. And then I've got some red that we're going to start off with right away and get this cut out. As you can see, I do need a 12 by 12 or a 12-inch piece of the notebook border maker punch. And since I only have one part connected, I'm going to use the Post-it notes to help hold this in place while I trim it. And I'm using the thicker side only because I'm not quite sure the depth that I need yet. And I'm gonna swap out to the notebook. And I do like this notebook one. It's actually one of my favorite ones. I do use it quite a bit on some of my page layouts. It's a nice one that adds a little bit of decorative elements to it, but then you can also hide it or like get up close to the edge and just show the limited amount that you want to on your page. So it's an edge punch, and so it just adds a little bit of elements there, or decorative elements to it. So let's put this aside. I will, now that I'm done punching, I'm going to trim this extra edge off. Move that over here because we may need it for some circles. And we'll start laying this out. My desk is kind of messy here. Start laying this out so we can kind of see what it looks like, to know if we have to make any modifications from my initial plan of attack. And on this sketch itself, you could add a 1.5 by 12-inch piece, and I might do that. But right now I'm just going to try to lay this out, probably have that at the 1 inch. And then over the top of it, we'll have another piece of pattern paper go over that. And then we'll figure out how much of this we want to show. So let's keep going. I think now I'm going to cut out some of the mats or the squares for the photo mats on here. That way I have an idea of how much space I'm working with. And let's see, I gotta remember what I did here. So I've got my photos laid out. I number them so that I have somewhat of an idea of what I was thinking when I put this whole thing together. I need to reprint my number 8, that I do know. But my printer and my Wi-Fi have not been cooperating very nicely. Okay. So the number 4 looks like it is a full 6x4, and then the one on top was a little bit smaller, so you'll see the edge stand out on there. And then the same thing, like if you squeeze these in, so this was a full 6 inches, and actually they cut smaller photo mats and kind of butted them up against them, so there was nothing under number 4. So I think let's try that. So we need, let's see if this works. So I am gonna just cut 6 inches all the way down because I suspect I will be using 6 inches most of the time. And then it'll be kind of varying the rest of it. So then this is laid out for a little bit of a border here. I'm trying to get it even all the way around. I'll be honest, I don't remember if these followed exactly with what the sketch had. So now I'm just I want to stick to the fact that I want them to have about the same amount of border all of the way around it. And if it ends up being a little bit bigger than what was in the sketch, I'm okay with that. I can always trim it down as needed. Probably be easier if I would stick them down on there, but okay, so that's that one. And then this one, let's see if we can get this one. And this one, I was likely going to use the full sheet. So I did not have a photo mat, so it calls for a large title in here, and I did not. I could always use a red one. Ooh, I kind of like that idea. So I'm gonna keep trimming these to the photo sizes the mat sizes that they talk about, and then I may end up coming in here with a red cardstock, or red as kind of an accent color, because I was going to use the red kind of throughout, little pops of accent throughout the page. I'm going to cut one more mat, probably this size, whatever this is. I know it's 6 by something for this bottom photo when I actually get it printed. So we've got that, and then this will eventually be a bigger photo. I've got blue, and I think I need to cut out, let me consult the sketch. I do need to cut out a photo mat for this photo too. And then we also need a journaling box, which very well could be red. Then I've got my 3 pops of red in here, and then we can figure out the accent, any other remaining accents, but then it would be kind of spaced throughout the page. All right, and then I'm just gonna, wherever I ended, that's where I'm gonna cut it off at. Sorry, I'm not very specific on the dimensions, but I'm kind of, because this photo was not following the sketch, I can kind of make it do what I need it to do. So I could have it go all the way to the top of the page, or I could have it kind of float. I'm going to have it float a little bit. And I'll figure out, I may trim it down a little bit more too. Just depends where this photo lands. Okay, so now we've got some decorative elements here that we need to create. We're going to use the banner, and then I was going to hopefully look at some of the stickers from the Totally Tonal Blue and the Totally Tonal Red collection. And then now where I need to spend a good amount of time is on trying to create the circles and what's going to end up happening in this area. So let me pull my sheets out, and I'm going to start doing some trial and error. And I am going to be putting, I do have some white and blue, wherever that went. So I've got this piece of paper that I'm going to use to trim and place in between here. So that, the sketch calls for 4 5/16 by 12. So I'm going to start there and trim it down if I need to. So 4 and 16ths always get me. Right there's 5/16. 4 and 5/16. I am just double checking. Okay, I'm going to trim that. And we're going to place this here, and these can actually go over further. And it's really just to kind of create, this piece will be used to try to create that border between this section and the edge of the paper. And then I wanted to keep this one So what I might end up doing is taking this piece, figuring out where I want it to show, and then attach it to the back of this so that it's one cohesive unit that I'm moving around, and I'm not having to do this in pieces. So let me work on that. I will be cutting out a variety of circles, and then we will come back and try to get it to look as good as the sketch does. All right, so I could always cut more if I needed to, but I think that looks good. Now the question is, how am I going to remember that to be able to put them down? So this will be interesting to put them down. I'm not, so there is another embellishment that will go here, which is why I didn't feel the need that I had to go cover all of that, because there will be something else covering it. And I may decide to raise some of these up too. So we'll see how that kind of all comes to be, because I think a different dimension would actually add a lot to this page, as these bubbles are all, the circles are all put out on this page. So let me try to attach them down with what I've got, and then we'll go from there and start building some of the decorative elements. Okay, so I had two different sizes of foam tape. I had 1/4 inch and I had an 1/8 of an inch. So I kind of tried to stagger those throughout the layout and add various levels of dimension. So it didn't turn out exactly like I had laid it out, but in the end, I think it has some good visual depth to it. And now let's pull out, let's see what we have for stickers. I also have some hockey paper over here that has some hockey sticks on it that I may use to do a circle punch on it. I don't know what size, so let's see what happens. If we get some of the pucks. So we do get some of the pucks in this punch, so I may have to do a smaller one if I go that route. But let's see what I have for blue. I have a every moment counts. With all of the circles, sometimes squares and flags might be our friend too. So I've got so many blessings or enjoying the good life. I do have some card mats too. Remember all the wonderful parts. Life is a beautiful ride. How sweet it is. And then my whole heart for my whole life. So I might actually do this bottom one because it's sizable. And of course I am going to raise that up. And I could mount it on white cardstock too. And actually I might do that. I may mount it on white cardstock and then I'll see if I can, if the corner rounder looks okay. I have white cardstock here. Let me go grab some. Okay, so here's my scrap piece here. And we'll find my corner rounder. See how this looks. Like if I can get it to line up. Probably not. It's the roundness is off a little, so I'd have to either freehand it or just cut it straight. And I may just cut it straight. So let me place this down. Okay, and then I'll trim this. Okay. Then I'm going to use the larger foam adhesive. And now I got to figure out how to get it in here right. Did lots of raising up. Right here is where it probably looks the best and fit, but I think I like it up here. So it's probably going to be a little bit uneven with all the foam that I did. It's the first time I probably overdid it. That's right, this page will have some nice dimension. And if I wanted to, I could always try to tear this stuff off the back too and fit it on here better, but You know me, I'm just gonna go with it. Okay. So we got that. And then, let's see, do we have any blue flags? So the sketch has some decorative and items. It has another one over here. I think I'm going to leave that though, just with how much there is there. But I am looking at a possible sticker to put here. Could do kind of like this one. Put this on there. And I'm gonna raise it up. I'll raise it up with the smaller stuff. And then I don't want to go all the way to the back edge because I have a photo that I have to tuck in there. One should be okay. Let's try to make some of that unsticky. Okay. And then underneath here, like I said, I'll go with a photo. And then if that does happen to stick down on it, that's okay. And kind of like the cheers. Add to this. There we go. Okay. All right, then I think this side looks good. Now let's see what we got going on the other page. Oops. Okay, so that was our title that we still have to come up with yet. I'll move this aside. And we're gonna kind of try to do equal distance. Because you could add another mat. Maybe I'll go up a little bit more. I'll do equal distance on the from edge to edge. But from the bottom, I'm going to go up a little bit further. There technically, according to the sketch, is another piece of paper behind it for another mat. I did elect to skip that step. And so now I can technically put this all the way up at the top too. I like that idea. And then again, this will be where the journaling goes. And I'm trying to line that up. And you could always come in and add 2 strips of thin paper down the side if you wanted to. I'm just gonna leave it. There's a lot going on this other page, which is another reason why I tried not to use as many different pattern papers. All right, so now we've got this over here. This is supposed to be a journaling box. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim out of one of the blues. I could even do white. Maybe I'll do white. Where is my white piece of paper again? Oh, I lose stuff so fast. So I'm gonna cut, do I have enough space here? Try to use up my scraps here. And this will be, I'll typically put the date there. And then I would add, excuse me, one more. Let me try to make this unsticky. I'll raise up one more item here. And I may have to put some on these little edges too, so they don't stick down. I want it to stay raised. And I may have to wait to put this down. We'll have to see how this goes. I typically will do the computer journaling, and I could try to create it so that it goes around that if I needed to, or I can keep it just to this top section. And I usually do it on white cardstock. So we've got this Good Life, we've got this, and then there's enough room for one more element. Let's see if there's anything that grabs our eye. I like the white because it'll pop up against the red. And it's simple, this little heart. I could have used these down here in place of that. And I could always put one of these on there too. These look too big, and then these are like flags, so nothing on that sheet. These are fairly large. So I think I'm down to the little heart, which if I move that over, I'll put it right here. And then I'll go ahead and I'll stick this down. And then I'll have my journaling up there. So all I have to do is, once I get my other photo printed, throw this on here. I do need to attach the photos yet. I do, like I said, I still have to get this one printed and then attach them all, but otherwise the page is complete. I don't typically do a lot of 2-page spreads, but when I do have lots of photos that I do try to group together that cover a season and a series of events in that season, that is typically when I'll do my 2-page spreads. Otherwise, I try to stick to 1 page and then do the journaling to go with the event. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed a sketch from page 104.